This is not my account. I think it's going live soon now. Alright, I just want to double check before here in my alternate thing. This is not my account. Okay, I muted it here as well. There you go. Okay, yes, we're officially live. I'm just gonna wait for the chat to refresh, and then we can start. Yeah, it takes a while for some reason, the chat to refresh. But okay, we're now officially live. I'm just double checking all the tech, but it seems to everything be running smoothly. There you go, I can see. Just if anybody is gonna be typing stuff, I can actually see it. I'm gonna be having my eyes in OBS, mostly. So, okay, so the chat's loaded. I think it's good to begin. So, hello everyone. I'm Sonia. I am the creator of two Fancomics based on RWBY. One is STRQ Chronicles, of course, based on the team that came before Team RWBY. And the other one is an AU of my own that I created based on Raven and Yang. Those are my two favorite characters. So that one is one that I created later, but now it's still one of my important fan comics. So for this panel, for Summer of RWBY, I invited one of my friends to help me here. So I want to also introduce her. She is a friend of mine here. Hello, say hi. And I mean, actually, funny enough, we can tell this. Tyr knows me because of STRQ Chronicles. Otherwise, you would not have met me.
Yeah, only because of STRQ Chronicles.
Yeah, so we made a very good friendship out of that. Recently, we also met in real life, so that was pretty cool. So definitely that has been a good experience. I was recently in Phoenix Fan Fusion, visiting you, Tyr, in Arizona, and I met a lot of fans of my art and RWBY, and I was surprised. I was underestimating the RWBY fandom. I thought that it was dead. I was like, nobody's gonna recognize Raven probably.
Have more faith, please.
It's just that again, I am Colombian, by the way. I'm not from the States, and in Colombia, RWBY is dead, non-existent. Latin America, you know, you guys don't know where Colombia is, Latin America, and yeah, I was the only one that was into RWBY. I got to know RWBY because of pandemic. I didn't have a lot of things to watch, and okay, fan art. Wait, never mind. Yeah, you know the story here. I was really into Shira before RWBY, and then I saw this this fan art of Bumblebee, and I'm like, oh, who are these two? So I actually Googled it, and then I found out that they were on YouTube. It was back then when YouTube actually had RWBY for free, and you could watch like all the seasons up till season 6, I think it was, on YouTube. So I watched all the series very easily. It was very accessible. That's how you say it. Yeah, it was easy to find. I don't know why Rooster Teeth decided to make it even harder for people to find it. It was really upsetting. I caught it when they were still on YouTube. So and I got invested, even though I thought it sucked at the beginning, because it was like the whole low budget animation. I'm like, what the heck am I watching? But
the black characters, the silhouettes of the buildings is amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So it was interesting. RWBY has a charm. Every time that people ask me, because a lot of my friends that don't know RWBY, it's like, why do you make so much stuff about that? And it's like, RWBY has an allure, has a charm, has so much potential that sadly a lot of it was wasted by Rooster Teeth. But a lot of the fans have made and brought it up, and RWBY has something special. Like I said, it's something that like you're telling me this to hear about you introducing this to your friends that you feel guilty because you know that we don't know if the show's gonna end, and
Mhm.
you know, but you
Yeah.
kind of like, and they're hooked up, right? And they're like in volume one, is it? Volume two?
Yeah, I was gonna interject and say that because it's been so like freeing to watch it from new eyes again, right? Because
Yeah.
you like me, I watched it so many times and I loved it with my younger sister.
Hmm.
But hearing them comment and then seeing like the the stuff that is like about Ruby, but also like yeah, there's something about this is just really good.
Yeah, exactly. So it has this lore, and it's probably the only IP that I've dedicated so much of my art to it. So a quick just, I guess I have to do it. I don't like talking too much about myself, but I mean this is the event. So I started fine arts. So I have a professional art background. And I started working on concept art. I worked in video games and shows. I work for Fox. I think that's the one name that probably people will recognize because the other ones are Colombian companies that probably nobody know.
Like what is
I
that?
mean, one of them worked. My first video game company that I worked for also worked in Ark, so the survival game. But they're one of the developers. They're not the publishers, so um, maybe you wouldn't know who they are. But they work on that. So that's like the famous game they worked at. Um, and then I stepped away because I didn't like the industry. I am so glad I stepped away because I wanted my own voice and I wanted to do art like my way. That's the thing in the industry. You have to basically surrender yourself to whatever the industry wants. And I just wanted to, do commissions, be at cons. One of my biggest friends that I made Sign Orange with introduced this whole new world to me. And after dropping into many IPs, I was into Shira, I was into Avatar, I mean, still am. I am a much of a gamer, so I've drawn Assassin's Creed, I've drawn Nier Automata, Bayonetta, all of that. And then I eventually, in 2020, September, I think it was, I discovered Ruby. And I stayed because of Raven. That's always what I tell people. Like, the show, it has its charm, but I was always looking forward to her character, like when she was gonna return. Because, of course, after Volume 5, I was like on the edge of my seat, waiting for more of content of this woman. But it never came. It never happened until Volume 9, one scene. And that was basically it. Because that's the other funny anecdote I tell people is that there is like no official merch of this woman that I had to make my own. You know, it's sad, but that's what happened. It was like I literally went to the artist store looking for merch of Raven, and there was like nothing. I did buy some other stuff. Like I have, you've seen me that I have that Ruby shirt. I have some mugs, so I did supported them. But I was always like, Where is Raven?"
It's non-existent. So it makes me
It's so
sad.
sad. I was actually also I bought the Crow plushie,
Mm-hmm.
wanting to for them to wait till they release the Raven plushie, and they got shut down before they could even like release the Raven plushie. So it's like I guess I just have one twin now, and I will have to hire someone to make the Raven. But it just had that has been my luck with Raven. That's the thing. But okay. But let me concentrate on the comics. This is the reason of the panel. So okay. So Tyr, you prepare some questions. So
Yeah, so let me see them real quick. Sorry about that. Um, so you already talked about what got you into Ruby. It was the
mm,
pandemic, but
mhm.
like what inspired you to create like Star Chronicles and the Bandit Queen and the Dragon Princess?
Oh, okay. Well, Star Chronicles was definitely after Volume 3. I think that a lot of fans can relate to this. The picture, of Team Stark, and we get introduced to Crow, and we already have seen Raven. I was not obsessed with Raven in Volume 2 because it was like, oh, I Neil. and that's it. You know, it's like one scene, and she was cool looking, but I'm like, I have no idea who you are. But in volume three is when it started to be settled, because obviously when you see the picture, it's like, oh, that outfit. Oh my God, this is Yang's mom. You know, I made the connection. I mean, instantly. I'm pretty sure it was pretty obvious. And also that last scene. I remember that last scene that was like a dream. I don't know what the writers decided to do with that scene because it was controversial, but the one with Raven and Yang are talking at the end of volume two.
Hmm. Yes.
So I saw that and I saw the picture and I love Crow as well. Crow and the fight with Winter and everything. Um, and then I started to basically get introduced more to Team Stark. So Team Stark feels like a failed team, you know, and that's something that for me it's very interesting because it's like, oh, what the hell happened between these four that they seem to be the best. I mean, Crow describes in Volume 3 that they were the best team from Beacon, but then things they drifted apart, and we see that Raven and Crow's relationship is very and they're twins. So that got me really intrigued, and I was hoping that Rooster Teeth would have released, I guess, a spin-off, a prequel. I don't know how to name that. They never did anything with them, and I mean, I discovered RWBY late. I discovered RWBY in 2020. You know, when already we were in
Hmm.
volume 7, I think, or 8, 7 or 8. Um, so I was like, it's been 7 volumes and nothing. I was astonished. Like I was astonished. It's like Team Stark has so much potential. Like you could milk this cow so well. I was surprised at that. So
Hmm.
but I was fascinated with them. So I started to do this like I did first some doodles of just Raven and having funny moments, but then I started to do actual comics. So the first comic was well, yeah, I remember now. So it was the first chapter of the STRQ Chronicles, although I didn't intended it to be a series. That was called the origins of Stark. You know how they basically form the teams.
Hmm.
And I remember that I used even the black silhouette people as a joke in the comic because I also didn't want to make background people, so I just put like, okay, this is like an audience, and this is all the people that matters. And yeah,
The same
and
beginnings. It's cute.
yeah, I mean, I was being lazy because it was in my free time, and I also didn't. My backgrounds were super dumb, like a gradient, and that's it.
Hmm.
Um, but I just wanted them interacting. Just see Crow, Raven, Ty. Ty is my least favorite. It's not a surprise. The first time I saw Ty, it was like, wait, Raven hook up with this guy? I hate his outfit. I absolutely hate his outfit. I obviously
Mm.
gave him. I call it like a makeover, like a fashion, like fix. Cause
Perfect.
I just don't like his pants and anything. Like the tattoo, tacky, that kind of like pointless pauldron. I don't know what it is. I think it's supposed to be a pauldron, but it's like it's kind of stupid in a sense because it's like just that armor piece and then you're completely exposed and naked. What's the point of that? You know? So, but that is design. I mean, I don't know who designed Ty. If it was Monty, I'm so sorry that I'm just butchering. But it's just I also I like to be very. I'm very into fashion design also and into designing. I always tell people if I wasn't into concept art, I probably would have been in the fashion industry. But the fashion industry is so that I just didn't want to follow that. Um, so I love making outfits, so I just judged them harshly. And when I saw Ty, I was like, but okay. But I respect it. I have tried to respect his design as much as I can. And then Summer, which Summer was a character that I have changed a lot because she's like a white canvas, you know. There's not much of her, honestly. And her outfit is like, eh. She looks like a nun, you know. It's like, okay, the white thing, and then she has this kind of like dress like Ruby. She feels like a non-version Ruby, you know, like just skin color white, you know. Um, so so I was like, okay, I guess I have to give more and flesh out more of the two characters that are barely there, because we have more Crow and Raven, but Ty and Summer the least. Ty is a bit more, but not that much anyways, you know. Um, and yeah, and so that was the Star Chronicles. Star Chronicles, that's why I started it. And the Bandit Queen was again my fashion version, like all the things I told you guys about. It's the Bandit Queen. So I did just for fun. I did an illustration of Raven and Yang hanging out in a bar, and I just wanted to do fashion and just base it. Oh, I'm gonna just give them cool outfits, and who cares if it makes sense, right? And I made two shirts with in the shirt had who they were, like in fonts, you know. It's like Bandit Queen was to Raven and Dragon Princess was on Yang. But it was just because I thought that that's what they were. Bandit Queen, you know, Raven, and then Princess because she's the daughter of the Queen, and Dragon because it's her thing. Um, and surprisingly, people love that illustration. It was mostly, I remember I was into Twitter back then, but I was mostly into DeviantArt, which I no longer have, because I decided to quit it with the AI crap. And I was mostly active on Facebook. Surprisingly, Facebook was my first opening into Ruby community. I now don't use Facebook. It's like, I don't. I use Instagram, way less now, way less. Tumblr, and I use Twitter. I
X.
I refuse to call it that. But okay, X. And I remember that in DeviantArt there was someone that said the comment like, "Oh my God, this looks so like if Raven was like this mafia lord or something, badass." And it was something else that it said, and a lot of people were saying that the illustration was like, "Oh, mother and daughter duo," and all of that. And that got me thinking that another thing that I really crave from the show that sadly Rooster Teeth didn't deliver well, in my opinion, was Raven and Yang content. Um, Most of the fans of Yang, I met a lot of fans in general. A lot of fans of Yang just absolutely hate Raven. They just were such a would just drop dead, and I'm like, I mean, I get it, but that's boring, you know. I feel like the potential of a possible reconciliation we would have seen in Volume 10 was for me way more interesting than just like, I hate you, mom, stay away from me, because that's literally what happened already in Volume 5, you know. So I was like, well, just perpetual hate, you know. That narratively speaking, that's boring because that's just like stagnant. Like, I feel like a beautiful thing about narrative and about stories is how change and how basically, I know I'm not justifying what Raven did. I know that I'm a huge Raven fan, but I also feel that the way that scene that we see, I am very grateful for Rooster Teeth for this last scene, which is the one scene with Raven and Summer. I feel like this was the first time that we actually saw Raven without that mask of pushing away people, and she actually admits to Summer like it was like, you're better at that life. She's basically saying, I suck as a mom, and this is not the life for me, and I trusted you. Of course, I'm not saying that it was right, but it was generally why she did what she did. It was not because she didn't love Yang. It was not because she was, oh, a lot of people said this. A lot of people said like, oh no, it's just Raven left because Summer cheated. Ty cheated with Summer, and Mexican sub opera, drama. Dun, 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 dun. I am Latin American. I'm Latina, so I'm so overdone with that. So I'm like, oh please no. It's like I've seen that in Rosa de Guadalupe, in La Madrastra, in so many like Mexican soap operas again. Colombians are a big fan of that. So I was like, oh no, please, no, I don't think that that's what happened. And I'm so glad that that scene kind of shut a lot of people up about that. So what ended up happening was that we do see that kind of like, and we see it also with Yang, how she cries and she shuts. Like that's the thing that made me love Raven. The Raven has one of the most expressive characters, even with her little screen time. So we see her mad, we see her cry, we see her smile and be happy. We also see her kind of like, regretful when Yang leaves with Wise, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm not a good mom. I wasn't kind." I don't remember what she says, but we see that she tried but failed. So Raven is that. Raven is a woman that fails a lot, and she has to live with her failures. She survives amongst everything, and she tries to basically use that as a weapon. And and again, her semblance. And semblance is another big part of why I love this character so much. She is the only RWBY character that has a semblance that is powered by the power of friendship, of love. It's like I have superpowers because I have friends and I love them, so I can go to them. And but she fights that. You can see that she hates that side of herself, but it's a part of herself, and that's something that I wanted to explore more in the Bandit Queen. And obviously, Yang and Raven, me returning to Yang and Raven, I wanted to see another AU. That's why I named it AU. I didn't want to pretend that I'm gonna write RWBY. I don't like doing that. I feel like RWBY is their show, and I feel like an AU, it's just okay. Here is another spin, another take on. So I wanted to have that take on of mother-daughter. So far, I can tell you, I've written a lot, but I have actually executed way less because my art it takes a while. I am very perfectionist with my stuff, and I cannot do black and white. That's something I cannot do. So I just barely have introduced characters and scenarios and concepts, but I haven't really made them interact that much in my comic, even though that's my intention. so,
So, if I may.
yes, it's like, shame, the shame.
Yes. But no. My question to you right now then is like, what is your goal with like both of the comics? Like, where do you want to, like, what's the direction that you're going for in them?
That's a tricky question because I wouldn't say that I have a goal in mind. Like I don't. That's the thing. I created these things for fun, and just because I, as a fan, had a need for them. Because if Rooster Teeth had delivered what I wanted, probably I wouldn't even need to do anything. That's the same thing I had with Shira. Shira gave me everything I needed. I did a couple of fan arts and and then okay, that's it. Same for I love The Legend of Korra. I love Avatar. I loved currently for example, I really like this Arcane is good. I also liked this anime that is destroying our hearts. Faria. Like I'm so bad at pronouncing that. So sorry guys, but the Elfie with the white hair. So when a show is super, like, it gives me that satisfaction of what I seek for, I usually don't have to do much. But the problem with RWBY was that, again, it's what I said. RWBY has a lot of charm, but I felt like the world and the writing was at times a bit more challenging for Rooster Teeth. I mean, they are no longer a company, so yes, they made a lot of mistakes that eventually caught up with them. So sadly, like I said, Team Stark, they didn't do anything with them for, I don't know how many years was the 7 volumes, but that's a lot. At least comics or something. But it seems that Team Stark was something that was kind of like in the back always. People wanted it badly. That's why my comic became so popular so easily because
Oh,
I was not the only starving fan.
I am an example of that. Like the minute that you did like a cover for it, I was like, there's a comic for Stark. What? Why haven't I seen this before?
Mhm.
And like you replied in the message on Instagram. No, it's a fan comic, and I'm just like, well, I'm here to
Yeah.
stay. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I always say it's a fan comic because I do have, I mean, this might sound arrogant, but it's just me basically telling you guys I study art. So I have a professional background. So my art might seem, my path as if Rooster Teeth maybe hire me, but they didn't hire me. So I want to make sure that that's clear. Like, hey, this is fan made, you know.
Hmm.
At least, I mean, even with me making clear that Webtoons shut down the comic, you know, the Star Chronicles. That did happen, unfortunately. It
Yeah.
was, I think in Webtoons it just was like around roughly a year and then got shut down. So I don't know if it was Warner. I don't know if restricted. It doesn't matter. I'm not gonna fight because fan art has that risk. I am using characters that don't belong to me, so I assume the risks. So I just decided to move to a more free platform, that being Tumblr and Twitter, and that's where I'm still posting it. And then Patreon as well, for those that want to support me. Which in Patreon I do more. Like some people tell me, "Are you still continuing this thing?" It's like, "Are you on my Patreon?" And it's like, "No." It's like, "Oh, that's probably why." Because Patreon has, I have mini comics. I have a comic that is designed for adult audience because it may contain a safe for work. I my not safe for work is super vanilla, so I also warn that. It's like, yeah, I don't do porn or explicit stuff. So if you're looking for that, I'm so sorry, but no. And I have also sketches, and I do a lot more content for Patreon because as much as this starting as a fan project, I need to make a living as an artist. So it's like, okay, I can continue this comics, but I need support. Otherwise, I need to go look for money elsewhere. You know, it is how it is. This is my profession. That's why I say I'm a professional artist. This is my what I live from. You know, and I train to be this an artist. So yeah, I think that answers the question, right? Yeah. So next.
Next,
Mhm.
why are you making both of them? Isn't like just one comic enough?
Why are you asking me this? I feel like you know the answer. You're torturing me.
I know the answer, but
Yeah.
not the viewers.
Okay, so that's just me being me. I get bored of something quickly, and I when I was doing Stark, it was fun and all of that. But the only thing that I don't like about doing Stark is that I have to respect a lot more the canon stuff. So I actually had to, look up the lore that was established with Ruby and go from that and try to be as respectful. Of course, I did alter stuff that didn't make much sense to me, but I was very canon driven. So doing that was a bit taxing because again, the reason I quitted working for the industry is that I don't like to be told what to do. That's the thing. So the Bandit Queen was that chance for me to just do my own thing. It's like, okay, I'll continue Stark. I just wanted something that I don't care. I can do whatever I want. If I want to make, and that's what I did. Uh, I made the four maidens more prevalent. Like they're actually not just keys. They're actually women of power that dominate the remnant. I can do it. If I want to make Raven a mafia lord, I can do it. It's the fun thing of doing having an AU. Um, and the other thing will be definitely that having two comics at the same time also helps me try different stuff. I am someone that likes to vary. For example, with the Bandit Queen, I do a horizontal format, following more like a webtoons kind of style, while Stark follows a classic comic book, page style with just like letter size format. And that's why I like both of them. They're different. I don't get bored. I jump from one and another. I just released another chapter yesterday. I released another chapter of The Bandit Queen, but that is Patreon exclusive, so a lot of people probably haven't seen it. And the and now I'm working on the next Stark uh, comic, and I do this. I jump. It's like, oh,
You
okay.
joke.
Oh, 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 oh.
Yeah.
It might be
But like,
tiresome some fans, but I'm just telling you guys. It's like, yeah, I'm sorry. It takes me a while because I also like to do a lot of stuff at the same time. Yeah, like Roseburg Week. It's like, that's the other thing. Oh God, I'm also starting to work in Roseburg Week. Yeah, it's another thing. Yeah.
September for you guys. Just looking for it.
What? I couldn't hear that again.
Oh, that's in September.
Yes.
Just so you guys know.
I feel like I don't know if there's more people that do more art because again it's not like I stalk Roseberry artists, but I do know that I am probably one of the few that does every day, because there's like, oh, I do one day and then 2 days or something, but I try to do every day. Why? Because I am just crazy like that. Yeah. And I do a lot of comics too there. Yeah. I love doing comics now. Illustrations is fun, but comics is now my playground.
Yeah, I know. I love this artwork that's right. Well, it was a minute ago
Yeah,
actually.
I'm cycling the images, but yeah. All
That
right.
was cool.
Do you have any other question that you have prepped or no?
I kind of want to redirect back to like a previous one I asked because in a roundabout way you went about it.
Mhm.
I know for Star Chronicles you're basically going what you believe happened for
Mhm.
the Stark Team Stark, right?
Yep. Mhm.
And how about like the Bandit Queen and the Dragon Princess? I know you said you're going to be focusing on these two main characters, but
Mhm.
is there anything else that you'd like to share about what you're doing with that comic?
Well, I can tell you that I was being very lazy. I'm not a writer. I always tell people I'm an artist. I'm not a writer. But I consume media just like anyone else. I am very passionate about what I do. But inevitably, I felt like, okay, I need to give structure to this thing. Because as much as I like to do things on wing it on the go, the Bandit Queen, since it was something that was mine, it had way less structure than Stark. Because the Stark, I'm literally grabbing a lot of material that is already there. So it's kind of easy, you know? But the Bandit Queen was pretty naked in that regard. So I started to do my own fanfic. I only share that fanfic with few people I trust. You, one of them, so you know that I of my fanfic. So because it's a fanfic for me, just to help me write the story, is not. I don't want to publish it because again, it is like, okay, I want to develop this idea and see how good it looks on paper, and then see if I will take it to the next level. So definitely the maidens. Another huge question mark that I always wondered about Ruby that I developed greatly. You know of this there in my fanfic was the Spring Maiden. The Spring Maiden that we see in the show that is barely mentioned, that she ran away and Raven killed her apparently to take her powers or something. But there was a lot of questions that for me didn't make sense if I just followed that story. It's like, okay, if you were trying to run away from Salem and the ward, it doesn't seem like very logically why you want maiden powers, you know? It's like that was very contradicting to me. Like, it feels like it was either forced upon you or the circumstances you, again, make you take the powers because it's weird that Raven just out of greed. Oh, I want power. But you're taking the power that is going to inevitably drag you back to Salem, which Raven, we know that she's like, oh, no, Salem, thank you, right? So, and also the fact of how little is mentioned of the Spring Maiden and how the reactions of Raven towards the Spring Maiden. So when Cinder says like, oh, the Spring Maiden should not have trusted you or something. Well, Raven is pissed off. I'm like, this woman has never shown to be that angry. Um, even though, like, okay, I hated that Bernal is killed here, but it's like, yeah, she just stabbed your second in command, and only when Cinders does this is when you really get angry. So I was like, puzzling, right?
Hmm.
And also when Yang says, "Oh, you kill her too," and brings the Spring Maiden, it's when Raven starts to break down and starts to be flamey eyes and start to say, "I did everything to survive." I don't know what she says, but she's very erratic um, and basically loses her cool in the conversation. So I was always puzzled about that. So I have developed that idea, but again, what I see what I'm able to make in art is way slower than what I write. Of course, writing is faster. Um, the actual Bandit Queen comic that is public concentrates on a little bit more about me introducing the characters and a little bit of the lore dump of the maidens. Um, and of course, a little bit of those interactions I want, like Ruby, fascinated with Raven's sword. We introduced the family of actually Ty and Summer and Raven actually working in a relationship. Uh, you know, um, Another interesting thing is Yang also has this kind of underworld kind of thing of like, yeah, I like to punch people and earn money, So we have that kind of rebellious nature of Yang, but it's getting her into trouble, and we see how Crow would say, "Hey, what are you doing?" You know. So Crow and Yang is also two characters that I feel like they should be closer, but they're not that close in the show, surprisingly. So I've been trying to push that a little bit more. Uh, but for example, now for those that are in my Patreon, maybe someone here is my Patreon. I am starting to develop a story on how Summer and Raven met in my AU because it's very different. There is no. I'm gonna actually lower the music a little bit. That the lyrics are distracting me. Um, the this is a universe where they didn't go to Beacon and they're not Team Stark, so it's different. It's very different. So and let's see what else. And I will introduce Winter soon. And Yang for Pyrrha. Okay, Pyrrha. Pyrrha is a character that actually is alive in my universe. So and I made her to have to be in a very teenage stuff. She's in a band with Weiss and with Yang and also with Coco. At least that's my idea in paper. I have not done any concept art or anything indicating that. Only Pyrrha, Weiss, and Yang I have. Coco I haven't yet. Why? Because I just haven't developed well the idea of the band or how I want to even approach Coco. So that's probably why. Because I am also exploring some interesting ships that I like in the Bandit Queen. Maybe some people will say like, "Oh no, why White Rose? I wanted White Rose or Rose Garden or something." It's like, okay, this is the ships I enjoy. It's fine if you don't like them, but it's just again fan. I am not officially anyway, so if you want to go, there's actually pretty good comics out there of White Rose, a good friend of mine, an artist that I really admire. I mean, it's Chinese, so I call her Jane, but she does After One. Um, I think it's After One. Oh my God, I used to butcher the names. I'm sorry, but it's very White Rose centered. So you have that if you like White Rose. I like actually Wise with Pyrrha. I always liked it from the first volumes, especially also Ice Queendom. I saw something there. Um, so Shniko's the name. I'm more attracted to that. And in my universe, it makes more sense. So it makes more sense because I also wrote it to make more sense. That's the thing. Um, and what else? That I will. Oh yeah, Snowbird is another complicated. I like the ship, but it has a lot of controversy, and I feel like I want to use that controversy. I know that there is like the Shnees and then Crow. I don't know if the age gap is gonna be that much because I always thought that Winter was older. You know, remember we talked about this tier? It's like, yeah, she doesn't
Yes.
look like the age they say she has. Also because she's so high in the military. It's like she's so young. Like what? She paid them? Like like in Spanish we say debajo de cuerdas, you know, like underneath the table or something. Like yeah, please send me corruption. I don't
Oh
know.
god.
I don't know. But she's too young to be in her position. So I always picture, oh, she's like late 20s or 30s, and then it's like, oh no, she's early 20s. It's like, what? You know, it's like, and she's also has this kind of old kind of fashion style. So yeah, I never picture Winter being that young. But I understand that some people are like, oh no, she's too young, too young for Crow and all of that. Well, it's everybody want their opinion. They're both adults, and I think that it's a ship that has potential. So that's another ship that I will plan to explore. And of course, Rosebird. It's like, duh. And Star-Crossed, which is the three of them. Of course, I know how to do it because, of course, it was complicated because I'm not the one that likes like trios or something like that. Honestly, it's kind of weird, but I feel like in the sense of having two kids, you know, and actually not wanting Raven to be like for me not to portray Raven as oh you're just a deadbeat and you're not there. Well, I wanted to make sure that she's stuck around and that Summer actually didn't die in some mission. So that's why I thought it was more interesting to try to see how the three of them could eventually have something or have formed this relationship. But it's definitely the only thing I can tell you is that I have done is that we see that Summer has actually is living and is married to Ty, and they have Ruby, Yang as well. But we see that Crow mentions that Yang has two moms and a dad. So we know that Raven is part of this family. But from Summer's reaction, we can say that Raven just visits. So she doesn't live there. I mean, at least this is me right intention. Maybe this is why I hate talking about my work because it's like I feel like I'm pretentious saying, "Oh, this is what the audience got." Maybe you guys didn't. But that was my intention. So I'm giving you those clues of like, yeah, we see that there is a family dynamic, but definitely there is it's not typical. If Raven is married to Ty, unlikely. I can just say that. And Raven even married to Summer. Also, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say yes or no because if I want to do it, I will probably indicate it more and want to actually, again, I am developing the story of how they met. I wrote it, but my written ideas can change. That's why I don't like to say much. Um, and yeah, that's it.
Do you mind answering some questions that people
Hmm.
have had?
Yes.
So, one of the first ones is like, what is your favorite song from RWBY and your favorite volume?
Okay, favorite song is hard. But I can tell you that Ruby music is one of the things that hooked me up. It's so good. It's so good. I was never let down by Ruby music. Even Ice Queen, I mean, okay, Ice Queen, I only listen to the opening songs. But yeah, but the music of Ruby has always been top. I feel like my favorite song will be the first opening. Uh, it's just so good. This will be the day. It's so good.
Yes, this will be
The
the
second one will be my Raven bias. It will be Sacrifice. Because I love that song, and then when someone told me it was a song of Raven, it's like, okay, I am so into this song now. And All Things Must Die, of course, this is a beautiful song as well. But there's so many. I love Armed and Ready. I love Let's Just Live. I
yes.
love. I feel like the ones that I don't like so much are the two cheesy ones. I don't like the cheesy ones too much.
You don't
Um,
like Boop? What is this?
I don't like which one?
Boop?
Boop?
Yeah,
No,
that's
I
That's
probably no.
Renora's song. For the
No,
fact that you don't
probably
know it.
no. No, it doesn't ring a bell. I have the songs that I enjoy, so probably it was like, this is too popish, too happy for me. Yeah, no. Um, and let's see.
Oh.
I also love the opening of Volume 9. It was fantastic. Um, it's
Mm,
probably it probably is up there with my faves. I really love it. Inside, I think Inside is called. Yeah.
yes,
And
it is
oh,
called
favorite
Inside.
volume?
Yes.
Uh, I would say volume 5 just for Raven, but that volume was a disaster in writing. So I love I love the fights. I mean, the fight of Cinder and all of that was great. But the most for me the most juicy or more well done volume was definitely 3. So I would say my favorite volume will be 3. I felt like there were high stakes. I was really feeling for Pyrrha. I loved the fact that they were taking it to the extreme of like, oh, Beacon is getting like destroyed and everything is getting going to hell. And it had such a dark opening too. So I feel like Volume 3 was solid in all regards. I like Ironwood as well. He was a great character. And Glinda, oh my god, I miss Glinda.
Yeah.
So there were so many good things in Volume 3. So I feel like that one will be my favorite one. Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't say volume 9 for, like that 45-second clip
Ah,
of
that's the
Roseberry.
thing. I love Volume 9, but I cannot forgive them for what they did with Episode 9. That's the thing. That's the thing that is complicated with Ruby. It's like I love the show. I want to love the show, but I'm not dumb. Okay, I'm not like I am eating what you give me, but I'm not just going to be fed with everything, you know. And sadly, they were building Ruby so well to drop the ball. I know that it was budget. I know that it was hard times, but honestly, I thought that it would have been the best decision, but I don't I'm talking not knowing the finances and not knowing all the mumbo jumbo that goes behind Rooster Teeth. But if they had done what Dragon Prince did, or what Old House did, or what Shira did, of dividing a season into two, I think it would have been awesome. Because imagine if, and I always tell these people, imagine if we get the cliffhanger of Volume 9 when Ruby drinks the tea, and that's the end.
Oh
I would have been
god.
dying. I would be like, oh
Yes.
my god, what happened next? Oh my god, we have to wait like one year. Oh my god, I'm gonna die. But it would have
Yes, oh
hooked
my
up
god.
people. I feel like that was the biggest mistake. Try to wrap up something that was so well built because oh my god, that episode, my favorite episode of Volume 9 is the one with Neo. I don't care much about Neo. She's a cool character, but I don't have a strong opinion about her. But that episode was beautiful, and I feel like Neo was spectacular in that episode, how she was destroying Ruby. And that was so well done to just basically make it kind of mean nothing in the next one. So, as much as we get to see Rose, well, it's like what, 5 seconds? I don't know. Less than a minute, I know that. I cannot give the crown to Volume 9. Again, I'm saying my favorite episode, my favorite volume, knowing that is solid, you know.
So, no, no, no.
Because
You're
Volume
right.
5 gives me the most Raven content, but I know it sucks in writing. No, I cannot defend that volume either.
No,
So yeah.
that's fine. Okay. Next question.
Yes.
This is from Edward. He's asking when will Cinder be introduced and perhaps as Raven X. I guess they are a helper
I
shipper
know what
here.
this is. Oh my god. Cinder. Okay, Cinder is a character that I actually have written a lot. You know this, Tier.
I love
Um,
how you've written her, so yes.
yeah, because I actually was a big fan of Cinder. I started to hate Cinder in Volume 4, because they started to basically make her character be a bit like. I mean, I get it that she had this kind of green thing going on, but I love the Cinder that was, like she was she was devious and obviously had was planning all, and it was all the one that will basically play chess and put all the pieces on the board whenever however she wanted to. But the thing that I loved about Cinder was the fact that she was questioning and she was exposing some really interesting things to the world. I will never forget when she says the stuff about Penny. When Penny is killed, she says like why would they make a super weapon that looks like a little girl? And I'm like, wait, I didn't think about that, but that's actually a very good point. You know, they never really addressed that, but that was also something very interesting. Like Cinder was actually one that was actually not just striking for I want maiden powers, I want maiden powers, I want maiden powers. That was the Cinder after Volume 4. Um, she was actually one that had the ambition to change the world and actually not really change the world, but she had her own things to do. She had her own speech to give. Um, and I like that. So definitely the Cinder will be more taking a bit more of that first volume's Cinder. I have written I will write more about her character because there are some things of her that I still am puzzling about, especially her backstory. I know that she's based on Cinderella, but uh, her backstory I feel like was a bit like a copy paste. So I feel like I could try to do something a bit more away from Cinderella, but still make it like she is that's her how you call that? That's her inspiration source or something. Illusion. I think that's how you call it. Illusion, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So when would Cinder be introduced? Uh, that's the thing. I do two comics. I hope so very soon. Raven X? Oh fuck no. I'm sorry if I say fuck. I'm sorry. I know I'm supposed to cuss, but no. I know saying that Hilbert shippers. No, if you want Hilbert art, there's this Chinese artist. Go to her. Go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not coming from me. I don't ship them
Oh,
at all. So yeah.
shot down. All right.
Yeah, I know.
Another question is it's more for you. So, what are some of your biggest art inspirations?
My biggest art inspirations? Oh well, there's been many. When I was growing up, I'm gonna talk about the ones that really influenced me. Of course, anime. I started to draw because of anime. Dragon Ball was my first anime that I was obsessed with. But actually, artists, I would say the first one was this Spanish woman artist called Victoria Francis. She
Mm.
drew vampires and hot people. Yeah, I also like drawing hot people too. A lot of artists do. It's a thing. She was a lot into gothic and a lot of vampire stuff. I was really gothic back then. I was in, I think it was high school, like late high school, early college. That was really into her. And then later on, I did stepped away from gothic, and then in Japanese, Rumiko Takahashi. She's the one that did Inuyasha, Ranma, and Urusei Yatsura. She was my biggest influence in comics. I have a lot of her comics. She's great. I love the way that she does comedy, and a lot of her comedy rubbed on me. So the chibis come mostly from her. She did this really cute chibis, and her sense of humor. I believe that I do echo it a lot of my art. I love her sense of humor, and the funny faces and all of that. And now, like later on, one of my biggest influence when I became an independent artist was Ross Tran. Ross Dross. He has his YouTube. He became really big because he started to do this thing of like, I'm gonna take a picture of a hot dog and turn it into a hot chick, and do a painting out of a photo. He was really good, and I love his style. I love the way he used brushes and the way he painted. I actually watch a lot of his tutorials. I wanted to learn a lot from him. Um, And now that was the biggest other influence. Now I feel like the artist that definitely Woloop. Woloop is a Chinese artist that does a lot of narrative kind of driven paintings that I absolutely love. And he has, I think it's a he. I'm sorry, I don't know they. They have a comic, um, which is also fantastic. It's only on Patreon, I think. I don't know. I did subscribe to their Patreon for a while. And I love Guace. I'm so sorry. This name's Guace. Their art is
Gu-
also beautiful. Yeah, you know the artist, right? Guace.
Yeah, I'm gonna spell it out. I think I that's how you spell it.
Guace. It's
Mm,
very no, that's not how you spell it. It's with a Z at the end. It's Gu. I don't remember. It's like GW, I think. I and Z, I think. I'm not sure.
like that.
But something like that. Yeah, something like that. They are great. They are absolutely fantastic. Um, and of Ruby artists, I really liked Eileen's art. Um, I saw some of the splash arts, especially done for Amity Arena. I really like that style. Um, there was also an artist that did a Raven versus Adam comic. I don't remember their name because it was all in Japanese, I think. But it was fantastic. I would say that that comic was something that also inspired me a lot to do what I'm doing. I hope to achieve the level of action that this artist did. 'Cause I'm not very comfortable doing action scenes. I haven't done it that much. But it was great. That it's a fan comic that I wish I had, but it's very hard to find. You know, it's like impossible.
Yeah, I actually reached out to them trying to see if they would print it out again. And they're like, if there's more interest, and it's just like,
Yeah, exactly. But again, that's very basically what I can remember of the artists I like. Yeah.
Yes.
Is there another
And
question, or
no,
we can
no,
wrap it up?
that's we can wrap it up. Yes.
All right. Well, I guess that yeah, that's it. I do hope that everyone is still enjoying my comics. I know I take ages. I'm sorry, but it's just like I do like to deliver quality. I make my comics more refined. I did them more lazy back then, but then it's like, oh, I want to do this almost. I mean, I'm not saying that they look like an illustration, but I do feel like I have given them more detail the more I've done them across the years. Yeah, and I hope that they can provide some Ruby content until we see what the heck's gonna happen with Ruby, because it's still up in the air, sadly. I was not surprised, but I was also kind of upset because it's like I did wanted the show to end. So we'll see. For now, I just keep. I already have built an audience and support, so I always said like as long as there's support, I can continue the comics. The support has increased actually after Rooster Teeth uh, dissolved, basically because probably that's always I say it's like Ruby survival now depends on the fans. I am included, but there's a lot of other cool projects to check out. Of course, I concentrate more on the adults. So if you're more into Team Ruby, there is, I think it's Ruby Evermorrow. There's one that concentrates on mostly on Ruby and another. I think Crow is Ruby's dad. This one, the by Saito. I
Oh,
forget the
the
name.
remnants.
I think so. I'm so bad with the names, but there is that one that is on YouTube. He's doing some sort of animatics, so they're beautiful as well. So there's a lot of content. I honestly just do my content surrounding Raven. I just love Raven, and of course I try to do my justice to the other characters, but that's my motivation, and that's gonna be my main, you know, like focus. Yeah. But okay, that's it. That's I just wanted to give it like a wrap up. Thank you so much for joining me for this hour. I was just showing this a bit of the art I've done for the comics. I done some illustration like this one that is like splash art. Ooh, I do like to do that, but comics are definitely the thing that I've been most attracted to lately. And yeah, so if you want to follow me, I leave my social media down in this image or down here in the chat in the description. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining. I do talk a lot, so I can just laugh, 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 laugh. It's a thing that I have, especially if it's something I actually care about. That's the thing. So yeah. So thank you so much for joining, and thank you so much, Tier, for helping me in this.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
yeah, that's just like it just felt weird. It's like I'm gonna be by myself, asking myself questions. Yeah, no. Okay. So thank you so much. See you guys in the future. Bye bye, and keep enjoying the summer of Ruby events. I'm I know that there's some other awesome projects and panels, and so go check them out.